Oh, there we go. Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. It's been forever.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even know how many years that's been, and I don't know that I want to age myself by saying it out
Don't
loud.
do it.
So,
Just don't do it.
yeah, thank you so much for hopping on live with me today. A little bit about Let's Talk Biz. I just started it to, you know, help support entrepreneurs and kind of inspire others because, being an entrepreneur can be tough sometimes. So having somebody in your corner and just listening to different stories may motivate somebody. So that is the ultimate goal. Um, but let's jump in. Let's talk about it. What made you start your business? How'd you come up with the name of your
Yeah.
business?
So great question. So first starting with the name, my father and I know we'll probably talk about this a little bit later too, but my father encouraged me to start my business. So I'm an actor and a model. And what was that? So 3 years ago, I decided to start pursuing acting and modeling on the side. And I was working full time at Charter Communications. I was a senior manager at the time on my way to director, but I loved acting and modeling still. So I was doing it on the side professionally, training and doing all those things. And then a year ago in March, I decided to leave my corporate job and pursue this full time. And I was so excited and pumped to do so. And my dad was super encouraging and supportive of the decision, but also said, you know what, you should start a business as well. So like, I love that you're doing the acting and modeling, but have something for you, have something that can support you in those dry spells, because with acting and modeling it's very variable up and down in terms of the gigs that you book. So it was like the perfect advice. I was like, you know what, you're right, let me start my own business, do my thing. And it actually didn't kick off in terms of like me actually doing anything with the business for almost like 6 months to 7 months or 8 months, because I was still doing a lot of the modeling gigs. And then all of a sudden it was like dry spell, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right, I did create a business, NEUR, which he helped me create the business name. So it stands for the entrepreneur. So it
Oh,
essentially just represents me in terms of who I am and the business and all that I'm doing. Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. I love your social media content. It has just been really cool to see you on TV. I always have like that fangirl moment, like, oh my God, I know her, right? So
Yes.
that's been awesome. I see your husband does a lot too. He's like does stuff with the Canvas Bank. So that has been really cool to see, and just seeing him on commercials and on buses.
Yes.
How does that feel for you guys when you see your face when you do those different modeling gigs, or when you've been in a couple different magazines as well? What is that like?
And it's kind of surreal. It's crazy because when I was younger, I feel like I've been manifesting this from a young age. I've always loved watching movies, TV shows, and like all the things. And I would always watch them in the movie theater and be like, one day I'm gonna be on TV. Like one day that's gonna be me. Like I don't know when and what and how I'm gonna get there, but I know I can just feel it in my bones. It's like it's gonna happen. And now that it's here, I really can say it's surreal. Like people messaging me on social media or saying like, "Oh my gosh, like I just saw your husband on the back of the bus." He's even like, "Oh my god," like he's like shy, not shy, but he's just like, "Oh my gosh, like I know, like I'm there." But we just remain humble and just blessed by God, and just say, we're grateful for all of the opportunities that we get. But it is exciting when people reach out, like, oh my gosh, I just saw you. I'm like, thank you. Like there's one thing I did where, and a similar thing, like I would walk into stores and see like billboards or people on packages, and I was always like, man, I would love to see my face on like a package. And I'm on like a package in Target for like one of these BioZoom like percussion devices for your body. So it's weird, and but it's pretty cool.
I'll look for it now. I gotta go find it. That that is cool. It is really cool, but you've always kind of had the face for it,
Oh,
like,
thank
and
you.
just how you carried yourself throughout the years. I was like, oh yeah, and I'm telling you, I was there for the first one, the first middle school play, okay, and it was great. So it's just been really cool to see that process.
Thank you.
So what do you think is one of the things you struggle with the most within your industry?
So when it comes to, I'll talk, I kind of like split it up into, so with like the acting and the modeling side, I would say the most difficult is making sure that I don't take things personally. So if there are things that I've auditioned for that I don't book, I can't internalize that. I can't be like, man, am I good enough? Why wasn't I selected? Is there a reason? And there is a reason, but there are things that are mainly out of your control. It could be that they decided to book a man instead of a woman, someone who may be a different ethnicity, you know, so you can't control those things. And also they build it around the cast. So they have all these different roles that they're filling, and it may be that someone they've already filled that role or a different role looks too similar to you. And they're like, well, they look the same, so we can't have two people who look, you know. So I think that's been the most challenging, is not internalizing it and being like, man, like, am I good enough? Because there have been moments where I'm just like, man, like, should I do this? Should I continue to do this? Because there are so many no's. Like, we audition, I can't even tell you, like hundreds of auditions a year. Some people have like thousands, like they just audition and don't book one thing. But you just have to keep going, persevering and training and knowing that the right role will come along. So I say that's the most challenging, in terms of like it being pretty competitive and not internalizing like, okay, am I worth it? Am I worthy of these roles? Because I absolutely am. So I have to just continue to tell myself, like, you know what? If I'm being seen, I'm getting these auditions, it's for a reason, because they like, you know, either my look or my talent or whatever I'm bringing to the table. They keep bringing me in for a reason. So the right one will come. So that's on like the acting and modeling side. On the business side, I love what I do and I love to support people. So with NEUR, a lot of what I provide is like motivator and mentorship services, where if people are interested in transforming their dreams into reality, like, I'm here for it. I want to help encourage you and inspire you to do what you love. And I want to do it for free. I'm like, hey, like, yeah, like, you know, so that's the challenge. It's like, I want to do it for free, but I know I need to like provide the service for a fee, or, you know. So what I've done to balance that out is I have a workshop series, How to Transform Dreams into Reality, where I bring on different guest speakers, similar to what you're doing, and people can talk about like how they transformed one of their dreams into reality, and they provide tips and tricks and tools so people can get inspired and understand that they can do whatever they want to do in life. They just have to take the first step and go for it. So that's for free. So I get typically sponsorships for that. So I'll reach out to people who have the money, who can, you know, sponsor it, so I can provide it for free to people who want it. And then on the other side of that, I take on clients who are interested in meeting with me one-on-one, but it's very affordable. For like a free exploratory, a 30-minute exploratory session, it's like $30. We just talk about what you want to do, what you're interested in doing, and I'll help give like initial tips and tricks or next steps for them to do just that. And then if they want to go into like an actual longer term relationship with me, we'll discuss pricing, and then I provide production support. So people who want to create a TV, a film, a commercial, I take on clients and help them do that. So I took on a client and we produced a couple of commercials, and I told him, I was like, you know what, I'm going to help you turn your dream into reality. And his dream was to get his message out. He wanted people to know who he was, to hear his message. And I was like, I'm going to help you go viral on TikTok. And two of the commercials I produced, both of them have over 35,000 views on TikTok. So I was like, let's do this, you know? So yeah.
That's awesome. That is a big deal too, the exposure piece. So good for you. That is really cool.
Thank you.
Man, I have so many other questions. Let me stay focused here though. So if somebody wants to like use your services, what's the best way that they can reach you or get in contact with you? Do you have a website? Are you more active on certain social media platforms?
Yeah. So my website is ariannascott.org. So they can go to the website, type it in, and then just scroll down to the bottom and it'll show my different services. So there's the exploratory session. You can just like book a session by clicking the button. I also provide like agency support. So people who are looking to get into the industry and they're like, I want a talent agent. How do I go about doing that? They can book a session specifically for that. And then production support, there's another section for that. So there are 3 buttons. They can just go to ariannascott.org, and whichever one fits their needs, they can just click the button and it'll email me directly, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. I love that. And then how good are you about responding to DMs? Do you get a lot of people reaching out to you direct message nowadays, or is it best for people to shoot you over just a quick email, or what works best for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So on social media, like I'm on a lot more like Instagram and Facebook from time to time. If I do get a DM, it might take me a lot longer to get to it. So because of my anxiety and because I do get a lot of messages, I'm on Do Not Disturb like 100% of the time. So I won't get a notification indicating there's something in my inbox because I don't check unless I go check. I won't know it's there. But with my email, like NEUR, like I do check that daily, make sure, you know, if you do send me a direct email, I will respond to that. But yeah, I have been getting a lot of direct messages from people like similar to you, like reaching out, like want to interview me, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I wasn't expecting this at all, but I'm here for it. I would love to like tell people more about what I do and just get that exposure, like you said. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like definitely everybody has their own way of connecting. I know some people lately with me, people have been wanting to like send text messages,
How do they get your
like, or
number?
well, it'll be like on our site, right? So
Okay.
you know how you can set up your office line to get text, but any of my like good clients have my phone number anyway,
Yeah.
my cell. But they'll want like text messages for the craziest thing. Like this is definitely a phone call conversation, but I'll do the best that I
Yeah.
can, right?
Right.
So I get it for sure. But another thing that I wanted to ask you too is just like as far as like being a business owner and just you do a lot of different things within NEUR, then there's acting, there's modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like what does self-care look like for you, and then how do you kind of know when to shut things down?
So it's very hard. Like I've always been a very hard worker in terms of whether that was schoolwork, working in corporate America for almost 10 years. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know how to shut down. And that's why I love my husband and his support because he and my family, they'll be like, girl, you need to stop. And I'm like, no, but I got it. No, put it down. Like I'll pick up my husband's like, he's like, put it down. I'm like, okay, you're right. Let me put it. I'm like, let me put the phone down. So to be honest, like it's really difficult for myself to tell myself to stop because I will. I'm like one more email or like one more post or one more thing. Like I gotta do this and this. And he's like, but you don't, babe. Especially now, I've been getting feedback, especially from like people in the industry as well. Like a very wonderful director, Cashel, man, Zachary, she essentially dealt with her own health issues because she's been so go, go, go. And I got really sick. I had like really severe panic attacks, which landed me in the emergency room. And I didn't realize like my health was deteriorating. And she told me, look, now that you're an entrepreneur, you have control of your own schedule. Say no. Move it to the next week. Like you don't have to do it right now. Like, you know what? You're right. Yeah, my husband said that the other day. I was like, babe, this week is going to be so crazy for me. He's like, you did it to yourself. You could have been like, oh, I'm already slammed. Like, move it to next week. I'm like, man, you're so right. Why do I do? I don't know. I don't know. So to answer your question, I have been trying to do better. Like I said, I put myself on Do Not Disturb. I'm now doing like the screen time, like the downtime on iPhone, like where it's like, all right, it's in 5 minutes, everything's gonna
Yeah,
shut off. And so I'm like, dang,
yeah,
I'm like, oh no. And then it's like you click on it and it's like, do you want to ignore the limit? And I'm like, no, fine. I'll like put it down, you know? So I'm trying to get better. And I do a lot of spa care. Like I'll get massages. I'm getting acupuncture now, like every 2 weeks. I'm seeing a wellness therapist, like an alternative wellness therapist. So I'm doing a lot better in terms of my self-care. Cause I go until I crash. And that's not healthy. I'm like,
then
I
you're
need to
like,
get
wait, why am I crashing?
right.
I
Like,
need sleep.
right.
Oh, that's
Why am I
crazy.
so tired? Why am I
I
having like
need
a
to
mental breakdown?
eat.
Yeah,
Right.
I haven't eaten. Right. I'm like, oh yeah, why am I hungry or hangry? I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten all day.
Yes, scheduling those little things. I definitely had to tell myself, stop working and eating.
Yes.
Like, put this stuff down and just eat your
Just
food.
eat.
That was like a big thing for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I could just accomplish
That.
eating and not trying to be on my laptop or respond to a message or do
Yep.
something,
Yep.
that was kind of a big thing for me.
Don't you
Take your
think?
breaks, eat your food.
Right. Don't you think it's sad that like I'll put on my to-do list, eat breakfast, eat lunch. I'm like, why is that? But hey, do
I
what you gotta do.
don't. I know. It's like the life of an entrepreneur. If you don't schedule it, you'll find 10,000 other things to
Right.
do. It's a
Exactly.
little easier for me, like when I have my kids with me, because they're gonna eat. Like, you need to have a snack or do a Lunchable or something. Like, hey, mom,
Right.
I'm hungry. What are we doing
What we
here?
gonna eat?
But if I don't have my kids with me,
Yep. You won't do it.
no, you look up and it's like 6, 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, I had water and a piece of bread.
Yep. That's
I
common for
need
me.
to
I'll do
get
like
to
grab
it.
some bread out the pantry and just do some like that's so sad.
Yep. You just in go mode. I totally get it. So having that schedule is really
Yeah.
important. And you think like it's so crazy. I have to schedule in time to eat, but it's really
But it's
important to do
important. Block
that.
it off on your calendar like lunchtime. So if someone's like, "Hey, can we meet at 12?" You're like, you go to your calendar. If it says lunch, no. Like, no, I'm not scheduling over my lunch. Like, let's
Right.
meet at a different time or a different day. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm the queen of double booking myself too. I'm working on that. Like, uh, my bad. But I wanted to ask you another thing as well, as far as like with so many things. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But like, what does it look like on a regular day for you?
Mm.
Since you have so many different things that you do, like, what does that look like?
I love that question. So it varies. It definitely does vary, but I try to keep some things consistent in the sense that, like, okay, on like Mondays, what I'll typically try to do is if it's like the beginning of a new month, I'll come up with some content. So I've been posting like self tape tips or like self care tips or whatever that is. And I'll literally sit down, come up with like four different concepts or like one concept, but like four different tips. And I'll just sit
Mm,
down and record it all at once, and then I
yeah,
can split it up into four and then can just post it throughout the month. So then it's like one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, one on Wednesday, one on whatever that looks like, the
right.
schedule, but it's already done. So I'll have it in my draft. I'll have something, if it's not typed up already, I'll type it up when I do submit the post, like post it online. But that's helped me tremendously. It's like, you know what? I've already recorded the content. It's done. I can just go just on, cruise control. It's just like, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything today. I'm like, oh, I already created some content like on Monday. Let's post that. And then it's done for the month. Cause it's like, if I did four, it's like one every Friday, right? Or one every
Right.
Thursday, or one every,
Yeah. Having those content days are super important.
yeah.
And I hate being on camera. Like, it is not my jam. And my assistant will like pretty much fuss at me all the time
Mm,
about taking pictures or recording or
yep.
doing things.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're in front of the
All the
camera a
time.
lot.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself? Have you ever felt like that? Or
Oh,
how do you
yeah.
get out of that?
Girl, all the time. Like, so going back to like the content days, so like I'll do it when I know I have something going on. Like today, since we're doing this interview, I'll probably record some content because I'm already dressed. I already look, like I'm like I'll record it on the days I know I have somewhere to be because I hate putting on makeup. I hate it. I do. I don't enjoy it. Like so when it comes to like doing self tapes or doing auditions, same thing. If I'm tired, I'm like, I'll do it the next day when I know I'm like, okay, I'm in a better mood. So yeah, there is a struggle where sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do anything but just relax. So I gotta find that balance where it's like, okay, Mondays I'll record, or on days I'm going somewhere where I'm getting dressed up, I'll record on those days. And then kind of circling back to the other question in terms of my days, there may be an audition that comes in randomly. So that's why it varies. It could be like, oh, Monday, I'm like, sweet, I got nothing to do. I can just relax, reply to emails or do whatever. And then boom, you got an audition or two that are both due tomorrow or the next day. And I'm like, so then it turns into, okay, that day I'm like working on my script breakdown or figuring out time wise, okay, who can I get as a reader to do my self tape? So then I'll do it tomorrow morning and I'll do that one in the evening. And then so it kind of just determines on who's reaching out, what audition I got. And last week I traveled to Texas to see my best friend and then found out I had an audition that was going to be due Friday. So I had to be like, okay, now I have to pack for that, bring my ring light, which I was not planning on doing because I was like, I'm on vacation. And then boom, an audition comes in and it was a big one. And I was like, okay, I can't skip this one. So packing, to do that. And then reaching out to my other agent because I was on hold for another gig. I was like, hey, I'm traveling. Did I book this or not? I need to know because I got to purchase a ticket. And they're like, yep, you booked it. So tell me why. I flew to Texas, flew back on Sunday, flew back. Then I had to fly to Utah yesterday for a modeling gig and flew back home last night so I could be here to interview with you.
Man, no, I don't love that. I travel not a ton anymore, but when I first started doing like financial services, I felt like I was always on a plane, and that was really hard for me.
Yep.
So kudos to you for doing that, packing and unpacking, because I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah.
just throw something in there. I got to get out of here.
Yep. Come up with like a list. I always have a list of things that I have to pack, and I'll just copy it and paste it from one note to the next. I'm like, okay, as long as I have this checklist, I'm like, yep, I'm good to go on the road.
The essentials, for sure. Keep your little pre-packaged stuff. Yeah, that is helpful, but I do not envy you, for sure. So really quick, I try to only keep these about 20 minutes or so. So what advice would you give somebody who is trying to get into your industry, as a beginner, anybody just getting started? What's a tip you would give?
Ooh, getting started. Quick tip. I would say do your research, and like really pinpoint what it is that you want to do. Don't let other people be like, oh, man, you have a great look. You should be a model. Or like, oh my gosh, you're great on camera. You should be an actor. Like, if that's not a passion of yours and you've never been like, oh, I'd love to do it, don't just like be like, okay, it's cool to try things. So maybe you try it. You're like, but unless it's a passion and you're like, ooh, I really want to go for it, you might end up quitting because you're like, well, everyone else said I should model. Like, so yeah, let's try it. And then you're like, oof, like, I don't like this. So I would say unless you love it, don't pursue it. Don't dive in, head first, doing all the things, spending all the money and investing in it. Unless you truly know, after you've tried it maybe a couple times, you're like, you know what? And you get the bug, because that's what happened to me. I did started doing the theater, and I was like, ooh, like, I love this. And then, so once you know you love it, I would say do your research and figure out, okay, how am I going to, take the next steps to get into this? So that whether that's like acting classes or a modeling class, or, doing your research in terms of like, what do they look for in terms of like headshots, a resume, all those things. So I'd say first step would be figure out what industry you're interested in getting into, test it out, see if you actually like it, and then if you do, then identify the next steps to like really go hard into the industry.
I love that. One thing you said that really stood out to me as well is I would do this for free.
Yes.
Like, without hesitation, you were like, I would do this for free. So if you have something that drives you like that, that is a great indicator that you could just go full force. But please charge people.
I know.
Or else it's just a very expensive hobby. So I love that you said that, though, because I see like entrepreneurs, new business owners starting out all the time, and they're almost uncomfortable charging. Like,
it's a
they almost
theme.
Don't want to put a price tag on things. But I mean, don't be afraid to charge what you're worth and go for it. But thank you so much for your time today. I'll be sure to be sharing your link for your website so people can get in touch with you and make that little note, like, DMs may or may not get answered, right?
Send an email. And it's lneur@gmail.com. So if you don't want to go to the website, just go to lneur, ALNEUR LLC@gmail.com. And I'll definitely reply. Because I'm like, what I love, it's like that inbox, it's not flooded with all the crap of my other, you have your other email address, and you're like, oh,
everything out.
Yes. So there's a high probability, like 100% chance I will see your email, because there's like, it's not flooded with everything else.
I get it. For sure. Well, thanks so much again, Arianna. It was great catching up with you. We'll definitely have to catch up in person one of these days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to give you a shout out for everything that you're doing. I remember us going to school and same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, Talani, like, I love that you reach out to me. I appreciate you doing this for business owners because it's hard. Like, entrepreneurship is hard, and having the support, especially from another Black woman, is so important. And I just appreciate you and everything that you're doing with your business in addition to helping other entrepreneurs. So keep going, girl. I see you. I see you.
Ooh, I appreciate all the love. Thank you so much.
You're
And you have a
welcome.
good rest of your week, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Yep. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Bye.